All right, thank you, everybody. Hope you had a nice week off. I just needed a week to catch up. Nothing going on. Everything is fine. Just needed a single week to just kind of get caught up on some things. So nice to see everybody here. Let's check in. Chinese, Filipino, Thai, Indonesian, French and Dog Brothers, and Japanese. All right, let's get big arm circles going to the front and backwards. Very nice. Palms out, medium-sized circles going forwards. And change directions. Good. Palms down, small circles going forwards. Change directions. All right, alternating hugs, take all that tension out of your shoulders. All right, very nice. Take your left hand, put it on top of your right hand, push down. Palm up right hand, we're gonna grab it, palm down, and stretch it out here. Very good. And then usually I skip this one, but everybody is so good here. Let's do it anyways. So your right hand is up, turn it. So from your perspective, your palm is facing to the right. Take your left middle finger and ring finger, put it on the fleshy part of your thumb, and then your left thumb between the ring finger and pinky knuckles. And we're gonna pull with these two fingers and push with our left thumb. So you're basically putting yourself in a kotegaishi wrist twist kind of a thing. Excellent. All right, let's switch hands. So let's take right hand on top of our left hand. Excellent. Let's stretch it out, palm up. Very nice. And then let's turn that palm to our left, grabbing with the right, middle, and third fingers on the fleshy part of the left thumb, pulling with those fingers, pushing with the right thumb. Very nice. Then just shake all that tension out of your wrists and out of your fingers. Make sure your wrists and your fingers are good to go. All right, very nice. Feet together, hands on your knees. I know my knees are out of the frame, but we've done this before. Knee rotations, one direction. Go the other direction. All right, feet about shoulder width apart, and we're gonna go hands on the hips and go hip rotations, one direction. Go the other way. Very nice. And then lastly, let's just warm up our necks. Okay, so we're gonna look left and look right. Good, we're gonna look up and look down. All right, and then we're gonna alternate trying to touch our temples to our shoulders, lastly. All right, very nice. So feet about shoulder width apart, hands up, and make fists. Give me one set of three. 1, 2, 3. And then we're gonna go to our right. 1, 2, 3. Back to center. 1, 2, 3. To our left. 1, 2, 3. Back to center. So we're gonna do 10 reps, and I'll call it for you, and we'll stay together. Ready? 1. Go to your right. 2. center, 3, left, 4, center, 5, right, 6, center, 7, left, 8, center, 9, right, 10, and let's go back to center and finish. Beautiful job. All right, so let's review. You can stay empty-handed. Lately, I've been feeding you the block, duck, jump game with 2 sticks, and I like that. That's actually something that I kind of figured out during these Zoom classes. Up until then, I would always kind of do it with feed with 1 stick, so it just adds another little dimension to this, and I know you can keep up because I've seen you do it so well so many times before. All right, so round 1, you know the deal by now. I will not verbally fake you out, and everything will be in time so that you can pick it up. So here we go. Block, block, duck, jump, duck, block, 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 duck, jump, duck, jump, jump, and duck. Very nice. All right. We're going to move right into round 2. The only difference, as you already know, is I can verbally try to fake you out. So at all times, watch the sticks. Don't get distracted by the audibles. All right, here we go. Ready? Block, 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 duck, 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 jump, and duck. Very nice. All right. Round 3, pardon me, stays the same. It's just going to go a little bit faster. So exactly like round 2, we'll just speed it up a little bit. And I'll, there's a microsecond of lag, and I'll kind of deal with that to make sure that it's not too fast. But, you all know the deal by now. All right, here we go. Ready? Duck, duck, jump, 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 duck, duck, jump, jump, duck, duck, jump, block, 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 and duck. Nice job. Fantastic. All right. Let's just review. Stay empty-handed for me. Let's review our World Thai Boxing Association focus mitt drill. This is in the curriculum as an orange belt requirement, which is technically the 2nd level. But I don't think there's anything wrong with teaching it early because it develops so many good things. So, respects, and I'm going to have you and myself in a left lead, right? So first I'll just go through everything, give you a quick reminder. I mean, I know how savvy you are, but I just want to make sure we have everything. So you can jab and cross. And then the 4 count is jab, cross, slap, cross. Good. If you bob and weave here, you're going to slap and cross. If you bob and weave here, your body weight is back, so you cross, slap, cross. Really nice. If you low ride on this side, you're coming back with a right uppercut, a slap, and a cross. And if you low ride on this side, you're coming back with a left uppercut and a cross. Beautiful. Okay, so there's a little bit more to the drill later, but the more to it all builds off of that. And even in the adult kickboxing program, I start with those basics, because if those basics don't look good, then the foundation hasn't been built properly and there's no sense in adding anything else on. So that looked really sharp. So let's get in a left lead, and we're gonna freelance this now, okay? So cross, cross, 4 count, jab, cross, slap, cross. Good, 4 count, jab, cross, slap, cross. Really nice, cross. Bob and weave to 2 punches, slap and cross. Nice job. Bob and weave to, good, got it. Bob and weave the other side to cross, slap, cross. Really nice. Cross. Jab, jab. Low right on this side, left uppercut and cross. Beautiful job. Bob and weave, slap, cross. Good. Low ride this side, left uppercut, cross. Low ride this side, right uppercut, slap and cross. Good time. Beautiful job. Very nice. All right. And again, I'm just kind of staying on the hunt for drills and things that I've said this so many times by now. You know, obviously the best situation would be traditional face-to-face training where you can feel the energy, but it's nice to really lock down some drills that, if this is, you know, our current reality, that, I mean, you can, short of like feeling the impact, actually get 95% of the drill learned through the technology. So that's pretty good. So grab a, let's go with a single stick. Okay. Excuse me. And the first numbering system that I teach is called a Eskrima 1. So we have angle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, make sure your palm up, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, bring it down, and 12. Good. Okay, and when we do 12, we want to make sure that we end on our left shoulder. Stick on your left shoulder, and there we go, instead of your right shoulder. Hey, Danny. Okay, so you know, I'm not gonna stay here too long because everything looks really good, and I know you all know this. Just a couple details. So blunt impact weapons, those are weapons without an edge. So a baseball bat, a pipe, a chair leg, an umbrella, those are all examples of blunt impact weapons. In blunt impact weapon fighting, the unarmed hand, which we call the live hand, this has got to stay up, okay? And I've emphasized this before. You can keep it here like you're boxing. You can keep it here, just kind of open, ready to receive. If you're struggling, remembering to keep this hand up, you can grab your shirt. The only unacceptable place for this live hand is down here, because it does you no good. It's like, you know, you don't need to drop your sticks. It's like throwing your jab like that. Like that's a good recipe for getting knocked out. Well, in stick fighting, one is my expression. Success in stick fighting is measured in centimeters and milliseconds. You do not have time if you have, unless it's some plot or ploy, or like you have a style like Muhammad Ali in boxing where you keep this hand down because you've developed your level so high that it's like baiting people. Unless that's the case, this hand has got to be up. So that's really important. And why is that? Because you will never, in a real stick fight, if you're lazy with this, you will never raise this in time. And if it's a moment of your options are getting hit here, or around here, or getting hit on the outside of your arm, trust me, getting hit on the outside of your arm is way better. And that's what, if we can't avoid getting hit in that moment. Okay, so let's go over this again, and I just want to isolate a couple of things. It's like it's 90%, you know, looking great, but let's just isolate a couple of things here. So angle 1, clavicle to hip. It would be their left clavicle down to their right hip if you're using your right hand. Angle 2 is the opposite of that. Clavicle, collarbone to hip. Their right collarbone down to their left hip. 3, midline, like belt level, and 4 is the reverse of that. Now, I'm going to pause for one quick second. Usually when we're fighting, even if this person has a snaky stick, 3 and 4 very often are to this stick hand. Like it's a moment where you're catching them at just the right moment and trying to hit the hand that's holding the stick. Okay, I mean, it could be a body shot if you fake them or something, like you faked high and then you hit that angle 3, that's possible. But very often the angle 3 and the angle 4, you know, if we have somebody scarecrow, we think about it at like waist level, but we don't really appreciate that most of the time those 3s and 4s we're going to be gunning for that stick hand. Okay, so everybody back in position. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure this live hand is staying up. 5, and remember what we've talked about before. 5, you've got to have this wrist bent in this particular numbering system. There are tons of different styles of Filipino martial arts. There are tons of different numbering systems. In my adult Filipino martial arts program, I teach 6 or 7 different 12-angle numbering systems. This is a 12-angle numbering system. So, because I like to explore how different systems approach things. For this one to be correct, our angle 5, you've got to be giving that little bit of bend, like my expression, like you're showing off how buff your forearm is. That's proper for this numbering system. There are times in the Filipino martial arts where we thrust completely straight. That's just not what we're doing here. So your 5 is here, your 6 is here to the chest. Think about somebody roughly the same height as you, and the chest or the collarbone is again where you're going here. 7 is the opposite of 6, chest or collarbone on the other side of the body. Their right side if you're using your right hand. 7 to 8, without opening up your fingertips, twirl that down like you're going from chest to hitting them in the right temple. Okay, and you allow, just like you all are, you allow that stick to go low off of your 8 in preparation for number 9. Number 9 is a rising diagonal to the knees. Okay, so I would, you know, if I get deep enough, maybe I'm going for the right knee, the left knee, which would be in the rear, or it could just be a forehand shot to that right knee, which if the person's in a right lead. 10 is the backhand version of that same attack. Then from 10, I just flip this over and I hit them in their left temple. 12, in preparation, I bring this down to my right side and I thrust straight up. And then like we talked about, I end on my left shoulder. If I end on my right shoulder, you can see in the camera here how exposed I am. If I end in the left shoulder, I'm a little bit more closed off. It's a little bit easier to come back into some kind of counterattack if I miss or if I don't, you know, do enough damage to affect my opponent. Okay. Everybody here knows the 12 angles. I've seen you all do it enough times. I'm just giving you some little refinements here so that you're really clear. So let's all run it together one more time with, I'm just going to call numbers. Okay. So make sure you're in right lead. Make sure your left hand is up. All right, and make sure you're, you know, doing everything, all the refinements that we just talked about. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, bring it down, and 12. Okay, so again, that's called Eskrima 1. That was the first numbering system that I was ever taught. That's why I teach it first. And as it was explained to me, that was the first numbering system that Guru Inasanto, my primary instructor, ever taught publicly. At least that's the way it was explained to me. All right, so everybody close up. We're in this backhand position here, right lead. We're still in a right lead. We're gonna go through this very quickly because all of you know this. And so you all stay in your backhand chambered position because you're gonna do the backhand series towards the camera. I'm gonna feed you, okay? So angle 1, I just want you to backhand destroy this, okay? Very nice. Angle 2, when I give it to you in a moment, I want you to backhand destroy it and make the X. So backhand and make the X. Beautiful job. Okay, angle 3, I want you to backhand it and make at least one redondo. On the singular redondo, if you're feeling really ambitious, sometimes you can do a double. All right, that's your option. But bare minimum, give me a single one. So destroy my 3, and let me see at least one redondo. Good. Destroy my 4, make the X to the redondo, please. Good. And destroy my 5, make the redondo to the X. All right, very nice. So we have 5 variables. Everybody did a great job. So just a quick reminder for all of you. Just the destruction is the first variable. Destruction to the X is the second variable. Destruction to the redondo is the third variable. Destruction X to the redondo is the fourth variable. Destruction redondo to the X is the fifth and final requirement for this particular version of the backhand series. Okay, old school. Well, it would even go beyond this. But you know, if I were maybe a little bit more traditional, I would make you do one set of 5 of just the destruction. One set of 5 against the first 5 angles of the destruction to the X. One set of 5 destruction to the redondo. One set of 5 X to the redondo, and one set of 5 redondo to the X. But I figure since everybody's doing so well, there's no reason to use class time for that sort of thing to make you do it. That's a really good solo training methodology sometime. Just imagine, visualize that somebody's giving you sets of the first 5 angles, and you do 5, you know, whatever the elevation, 5 reps of each variation, right? That's a good, if you're looking for something to work on solo as far as during your practice time, that's a really good thing. So let's everybody make sure we have enough room and that we're not going to hit anything behind us. And we're going to be in a right lead, sticks in our right hand. Literally allow the stick to rest on your right shoulder. You have most of your weight on your lead foot. I'm only going to change the elevation like once or twice. And this is what we're looking for, right? So I'm starting Dog Brothers Power Shot 1. See how I'm very light in my rear foot because I have most of my weight on my lead foot. As this swings through, see how I'm transferring most of the weight to the rear foot. And then I reset this. That weight distribution and redistribution is more important than getting the angle perfect. Okay, I mean, I'd like you to do both. I'd like you to get the angle correct and have the weight distribution and redistribution, but the weight transfer, it's in the front, I finish with it in the rear. I reset to the front. And see, every time that I rep, I'm resetting. Okay. And relax for 1 second. I'll say this, coming from like, man, I was just doing 12 angles with fluidity and mixing all these things together. Then in the next level, you're isolating single shots. I know it seems a little like anticlimactic, maybe even I'll use the B word, almost a little boring. But what we're looking for with Dog Brothers is perfect reps. Or sometimes I'll say I don't believe in perfection. So reps that are as close to perfect as possible. Because the goal here is that you hit as hard as possible with as little effort as possible, right? So just based on what I'm seeing, let me give everybody one little note. If you're, I know it's different because we're relating through the technology. If I'm looking at you in the camera, you're my imaginary opponent, I'm going to do it wrong, okay? Ready? Watch me. This is wrong. Okay, what am I doing looking over here? All right, if my imaginary opponent's over here, the whole time, I want my eye on that imaginary opponent. So remember, even though, yes, we're trying to generate a lot of power, keep your attention, your eyesight towards the front. All right. The only other time I'm going to move the camera again. So power shot 2 is the opposite. Okay. I have the stick on my left shoulder. I am very light on my right foot because I have most of my weight on my rear foot. See the transfer? Here. So now I'm heavy on my lead foot and light on my rear foot. And then I reset before I take my next rep. Okay? Invest the time, everybody. Even if it doesn't, why does he always give us such a hard time about transferring? That weight transfer is more important than the angulation. Because if you're getting the angle correct, this is according to Dog Brothers, if you're getting the angle correct, but you can't hit with any power, then it doesn't matter, okay? Because blunt impact weapons, non-edged weapons, you have to be able to generate power, okay? So you have the stick in your right hand, on your left shoulder, your left hand is inside, my weight is back, and I finish with my weight in the front. Okay, I'm a natural backhander, so that's easier for me. I still hit pretty hard on the forehand side, but that's taking no effort on my part. Okay, and then 2 ideas for you, everybody. Go back to put it on your right shoulder again and put your weight in the front. Your left hand for the forehand angles can literally pull. So see how this hand, that's how this hand, we call it a power assist. This hand is assisting the left hand by pulling. Like it's yanking through that arc, okay? And then on the backhand side, which this is my preference, it doesn't have to be yours, because this fits me more naturally, it's just the case. On the backhand side, my power assist is a push. So I'm dropping my weight forward, my left hand I'm pushing, literally pushing. So you have all those things working together. The power assist, the weight distribution and redistribution, and then you're just letting the stick go, okay? And I don't want you to take this the wrong way. In my youth program, I do not teach offensive blade to young people. Defensive blade, yes. How to defend against the blade. This is a trainer. It's not sharp, so you don't need to worry about my safety. There are some different, I'll just say this real quickly and then we'll finish these. there are some different, of course there are, philosophies at times in different systems of Filipino martial arts, but conventional wisdom, if a blade is super sharpened, all it really has to do is touch flesh and it cuts. I mean, then you have some systems like certain illustrissimo systems will, they believe it should have both. You should have like a razor sharp blade and really good, powerful body mechanics so that it's both. You're not just dependent on the blade, it's also reinforced with your body mechanics. But bladed weapon is different because, again, just, I mean, even like this should never happen, but even a toddler, if they had the chance to pick up a knife, is dangerous because if that's a super sharp knife, all that knife has to do is make contact to do damage. Okay, so blunt impact weapons are the opposite. Okay, if I can do this with my screen, unlike last class where I actually hit my screen. So here's me actually touching my stick to my laptop screen, and it's doing no damage, right? Because that's just contact. With a blunt impact weapon, I'm not going to hit my computer. What you need is power. That's why these drills are so important. So first level, we're kind of learning what lines you could be attacking on. And then second level, to get our orange belts with the Dog Brothers material, what we're trying to do, hey buddy, what we're trying to do is add in the body mechanics and the rotation, okay? So let's everybody back up again, okay? And so start with your weight in the front, stick on your right shoulder, drop your weight back. 1, 2, power shot 3, before we express it, is gonna be this high horizontal, like you're hitting me here in my left temple, okay? But you drop the weight back. That's it. And then 4 is the opposite. All right. So it's like a higher version of what you're used to as 3 and 4. Here's the Dog Brothers 3, and there's the Dog Brothers 4. Okay. So stick on your right shoulder. Let's put it all together. Let's make sure we're rotating. And then we're going to work the complementary side too, everybody. So ready, drop it back. 1, forward, 2, drop it back, 3, and forward for 4. One more set. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, relax for 1 second. Don't sit down though. The mindset is, imagine you have one shot to score. You have only one time to strike once. And I mean, I don't want to worry you. I don't want to do like trick psychology on you to get a physiological reaction. I don't like teaching like that. I think that's very manipulative. But the mindset when you're doing the Dog Brothers material, imagine whatever power shot you're doing, whether it's 1, 2, 3, or 4, every single rep, imagine that that's your only opportunity to hit your attacker hard enough to do enough damage to end the fight. Like, that's the mindset. Okay, so everybody take your stick, put it in your left hand, put your left side in front. Okay, check your background. I'm the head instructor. I have no problem admitting that my complementary side is less naturally gifted in terms of everything, including spatial awareness, than my dominant side. Weight should be in front, so most of your weight should be on your left foot. Your right foot should be very light. And everybody drop it back. 1. Drop it forward. 2. Drop it back. 3. And forward. 4. One more set. Drop it back. 1, forward, 2. Drop it back, 3. And forward for 4. All right. And more than likely, depending on if you're ambidextrous or not, you, just like I do, you probably feel like your complementary side is less adept than your dominant side, and that's okay. But we want to put the time in to have both. It's very important to put, like, the reality is your dominant side is always going to be dominant. Your complementary side's never going to catch up. But to not put any time into the complementary side is a mistake. Okay, so let's work on our tools to develop a snaky stick. You can go back in your right hand if you want to, but it's up to you, okay? So we have the clock. And a good way to start developing a snaky stick with your clock is to hit a couple of shots and then go right back to it. Then here's my clock. Okay, and if I'm left-handed, and I'm going to be honest about it, but I don't mind, I'm less adept doing all of this with my left hand because that's my complementary side. But I might hit and then go back. I might hit a single shot and go back. I might do some kind of a Sagita that we've done or a combination. Okay, I might Dog Brothers power shot, X to Redondo, and then go back. Like what I'm trying to do is give you tools to develop that snaky stick rather than tell you exactly what you have to do. Okay, so the next one is the arco or the tail or the florete. Right? Is I go 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And you know what? I haven't done it in my left hand in a long time. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So you're making 2 small forehand loops when you're starting open and then 2 small backhand loops when you're starting closed, right? So 1, 2. This is my forehand or my open side, 1, 2. This is my backhand or my closed side, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. If you're taller and you have longer arms, some people really like 3. They'll go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And if you're one of those people with a really long wingspan, arm span, that might fit you, and that's totally acceptable. I have shorter arms. For me, 2 flips is perfect. There, okay? So you have your clock, you have your arcos, okay? And, you know, I'll say this super quick. Whenever I teach you terminology or multiple names for something like I just did with these, I'm not showing off. That's what my instructor like always modeled. He'll say they call it this in this system, they call it this in this system, and I'm just offering it. If you can remember it, cool. If you can't remember it, not a problem as long as you can do it. If you need to invent some kind of a nickname for the material to help you remember it, that's totally fine as well. Okay, this is not school. There's never really gonna, even when I maybe test you for ranking, there's never gonna be a time where it's gonna be like, you know, choose the correct answer on a multiple choice test. If you forget something, you know, usually I'm happy to just show you real quickly, give you a little reminder, because most people, it's not necessary to have the same, like, make you as nervous in martial arts class as maybe when you're taking a big test in school. That's just not my style. Okay, so anyways, these, let's do these for one moment, going from one shoulder to the other. And again, in Doce Pares, that's like I believe the FMA system practiced by most people in the world. They call this the arco, A-R-C-O, arco. In Inasanto La Costa, my kind of mother system, we call this a florete. And in Dog Brothers Martial Arts, where Punang Guru Mark Denny, who heads up the instruction, he likes to make up little nicknames for everything. We call this a tail, like the dog's tail, okay? And the reason Guru Mark does that is because different systems have different names. He'd rather just name it something silly, and then you can remember it. All right, so Dog Brothers' theory of 7 ranges, everybody. When we're completely out of range, and with the exception of like opening my hand and throwing the stick at you, when there's no contact possible, this is our snake range. This is the longest range, pre-contact, because this is where we use our snaky stick and where we assess our opponent's structure. We have time to think at this range. If I were to hold my stick out and you were to hold your stick out and just the tip, the very tips were to make contact, but I couldn't hit your hand and you couldn't hit my hand at that range. That's the next range, is bubble range, right? Because again, that imaginary bubble of safety has been popped. There's safety that comes with distance. If I'm all the way here and you know that with the exception of projectile weapons that I can't touch you, you have a momentary feeling of safety. When I move a little bit closer and we have weapon contact only, that bubble that comes with safety has been popped. So we call that bubble range. If I move in just slightly to where you could hit my hand and I could hit your hand, but I can't check and I can't hit any other part of your body, that would be largo range, long range, what most systems think of as long range. If we moved in a little bit and I could check your stick hand and you could check my stick hand, we'd be in medio or medium range. If I moved in a little bit more to where I could hit you with my puño or my knee or my elbow, we're in corto or close range. If I opened you up and started pummeling on your biceps or grabbed your wrists and we started stand-up wrestling, we call that stand-up grappling. And then if we ended up on the ground, either with or without our weapons and we're wrestling around, we call that ground grappling. Okay, so snake, bubble, so no contact at snake range. We use our snaky stick and evaluate structure. Bubble, just weapon contact. Largo, where we can hit each other's hands. Medio, where we can hand check with the live hand. Corto, where we can hit with the puño or our knee or our elbow. Stand-up grappling, standing grappling, like basically stand-up wrestling with or without a weapon, and then ground grappling. Snake, bubble, largo, medio, corto, standing grappling, ground grappling. Dog Brothers' theory of 7 ranges. What would that look like on a rank test? I would have you explain the theory of the Dog Brothers 7 ranges to me, starting from furthest away, like snake, all the way through the last range, which is ground grappling. Okay? And usually when I teach this, just like I've been doing, I've been giving you the things that you need to remember. So super quick. Snake, just remember snake is pre-contact, too far away for there to be any kind of contact. And maybe I'm using my snaky stick motion and I can evaluate my opponent's structure. Bubble, just remember weapon contact only. Largo, just remember we can hit each other's hands only. Medio, remember that that's now we're close enough to hand check. Corto, I'm close enough to hit with the butt of the stick, called the puño, or maybe a knee, or maybe an elbow. Pretty much at that same range, though, as corto. If we grab and we're wrestling, we have stand-up grappling, and then we might end up on the floor ground grappling or wrestling on the ground. And then the only other thing you all need to remember is stand-up grappling and ground grappling, according to Dog Brothers, can be with or without a weapon. Some systems, I'm not insulting anybody here. Some systems, it's you're doing your stick fight, and the minute that you end up in grappling range, you have some kind of like a referee figure that comes in and breaks it up, like boxing. Okay, Dog Brothers doesn't do that. Dog Brothers, unless the fighters have made some kind of an arrangement, Dog Brothers continues in grappling range, with or without a weapon. And you can submit people with or without a weapon. You can hit people in grappling range with or without a weapon. All right, let's go to 2 sticks. You have 2. All right, and super quick review. So we have 2 coordination drills for the first level. Ikis, right? Make the X with the right, make the X with the left. Angle 1, angle 2, angle 1, angle 2. Forehand, backhand, forehand, backhand. Open to close, close to open, open to close to open. That's the way to do it correctly. You can train it either sticks on your shoulders or sticks up. The thing that I'm trying to have you avoid is that I'm about to do it wrong. Don't do this, please. When you're hitting with one stick, you drop the other one. When you're hitting with the other stick, we want to avoid that, okay, for all the reasons that we talked about with single weapon. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ikis is a 4-beat drill. The most common error that I see, and this is hard for me to do, make sure you don't do this, is angle 1, angle 2, angle 2, angle 1. It's got to be forehand, backhand, forehand, backhand. If you think diagonal lines, the placement, whether here or here, should help you, because that first angle 1 on both sides should be very natural. Okay, everybody knows Ikis. Empty 6, high inward, low backhand, high backhand. High inward, low backhand, high backhand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inward, backhand, backhand, high inward, low backhand, high backhand. 3 shots with each side before you switch. There you go. Okay. Most common mistakes, not that any of you are making them, that I see with empty 6. Please don't do this. People use their wrist. See how this is my wrist? Like a little flick, and then a little flick low, and then a little flick high. Empty 6 is supposed to be your arm. See how it's like, and I'm exaggerating that a little bit, but I'm trying to make a point here. Like the bend of my elbow is the joint, you know, like where everything is connected. So your whole arm goes low and then high. Your whole arm swings low and then high. There will be other patterns later where it'll be, like we call them abanico. It's more like a fanning type motion. That's not what we're doing here, where it's wrist. This is your arm, okay? If you're really adept, which you all are, what you might then want to be able to work on is 1 set Ikis, 1 set empty 6. So Ikis for 4 beats, empty 6 for 6. Ikis for 4 beats, empty 6 for 6 beats. Okay. At the orange belt level, pardon me for 1 second here, I know we have Redondo 6 and Umbrella 6, and I know we've been working those. Let me just confirm It's the benefit of having a written curriculum, everybody, is you can make sure that everybody's got what they need. So we do have the entire curriculum in my organization written out. Okay, yes, very good. So we're gonna be left stick tucked under your right arm. We're going inward with the right, over our head, backhand with the left, inward, and then tuck the right. So left inward, over your head, right backhand, left inward, tuck. Inward, backhand, inward, tuck. Inward, backhand, inward, tuck. Inward, backhand, inward, tuck. Inward, backhand, inward, tuck. All right, so let's all do it together. Everybody start, take your left stick, put it on your right arm, and let's all do it together. Ready? Inward, backhand, inward, tuck, and then the other side. Inward, backhand, inward, tuck. Nice job, really good. Okay, and the visual, you all know this, but I'll go over it real quickly. The visual I like to give for this one is helicopter blades, right? It's not a perfect visual because obviously real helicopter blades would be fixed and they would spin on one plane, but it's close enough because all these shots are lateral. That's at least the way that I was always taught. All these shots are lateral. Whereas umbrella six, inward, point down, backhand inward, inward, point down, backhand inward. So it's still inward, backhand inward. It's just this first shot goes point down. I actually, you might be able to hear it, I actually touch my shoulders as I go over. Now, why do I have the two different versions? I've said this before. Redondo, you're confident. Oh, you're ready to enter and take the, finish the fight. The umbrella version, you might want to probe with that first shot and then be ready with your defense. Maybe maybe it's somebody you're more scared of, okay? And that happens all the time. There's sometimes, it doesn't matter how much fight experience you have. You know, I'm sitting at 50, Dog Brothers fights. There are still times where it's like, I don't want to fight that person. They're scary, okay? So sometimes, like, you want that first shot to go in and kind of probe for you, and then you want to, you know, be a little bit more defensive. Whereas if I want to just enter, boom, and take the person out, the Redondo is the better option. All right, put your sticks down. We're going to end with Han and Tukin. And we're going to do this in the air, but it'll be fine. Everybody put your left side in front. So we're going to be orthodox lead. Okay, so this is all off. Somebody's trying to hit us with a jab. Okay, so my right hand puts a lid on it, while the first variation, my left hand moves in and I punch. Now my background, this punch is vertical. That feels very comfortable to me. One of my other students, for example, an adult student, he's got a really good boxing background. When he does this, he likes a palm down, like a Western style punch. Okay. Now keep in mind, and I'm sort of by myself today, and it's fine. I'm not gonna grab my katana or my wife or anything like that. This is as the person is trying to punch you, right before they touch down on your face, your right hand puts a lid on the punch on the outside of their arm, and your left hand attacks. So it's supposed to be one beat, boom, all right? So as that jab comes in, yep, we call that a split entry, because in this case, your right hand would be on the outside, your left hand would be attacking on the inside. So that's the first variation, is sometimes in Chinese martial arts, we call that a chung choi. I might call this a vertical fist if I'm doing it like this, or you can just call it a punch and do a palm down Western punch. 2 more variations, and we have time for both of them. So the second variation, instead of hitting here with this, I'm going to get a little bit deeper, and I'm going to imagine checking if this is for the person who has good form. So imagine that your opponent tries to hit you like this. This is their structure. Well, you're going to split entry, and for 1 second, you're going to pin with your left hand, you're going to pin that rear hand to their face. You're not going to stand there all day, because if you stand there too long, they're going to do something else. But it's for the person, maybe you've identified they like to throw the 1-2, the jab cross, jab cross, jab cross. So on the jab, boom, you enter, that throws their rhythm off for a second, and then they become really easy to counter. That's it. So you got to get a little deeper on this one, on number 2, than with number 1. So number 1's going to split and hit them. Number 2 is going to split and monitor the rear hand. Then we have an option. Nice job. Yes. Then we have one more option for the person that managed to get off their 1-2. So we're going to do our split entry against the jab, just the way, either palm down or vertical, just the way that we just learned it. When the cross comes in, you're going to cover and hit. So we call this split entry, and then your left hand opens, and here's the cover, and here's my right hit. So split entry to cover and hit. Split entry to cover and hit. And and you might be noticing when I shadow box this, I usually slap my bicep. That's just a habit with me, because that represents slapping the outside of their arm off their jab. You're going to be on center line. You're going to be holding center line. They're going to throw their jab. They're going to get hit. Your fist would be right about here, occupying center line. I'm going to have to go around it after you split. And when they go around it, you're here, boom, that's when you cover and hit. And you could split and go palm down. You could cover and go palm down Western style punch is what I'm saying. Me, because of my background, that feels bizarre. Okay, for me, I'm not saying it's bad. All of this material I'm usually going to do with a vertical fist. Okay, 1, 2. But that's based on my background. If you want to split and go palm down and then cover and hit and go palm down, you can totally do that. Okay, so for my KidPersist class, who we're running out of time, let's review these 3 variations very quickly and then bow the class out. So everybody in a left lead. 2 of these are for just the jab, and they're 1-beat counters, right? I split and hit. That's the first one. Then hands back up. The second variation, I split and I get a little bit deeper and I monitor the rear hand. Okay, and sometime soon, maybe Wednesday, I'll show you these with a partner so that you see what we're doing. But for right now, we're going to do it in the air. Okay, number 3, I start with number 1. I split and I hit, and then my left hand covers and my right hand hits. Okay, so one more review of everything. Split and hit, number 1, whether you're here or here. Either this is totally fine. Number 2, split and monitor the rear hand. Number 3 is split entry to cover and hit. Now I want to make this point, and we're going to end on them. We'll do it in the air in just a second. If you split and monitor, they're not going to be able to get off the cross. So you don't need number 3 for that one. This is if you split and you hit them, and either they're too strong or you didn't do enough damage, or they were so fast that they got off the 1-2. Split cover and hit. One more time. Split, cover and hit. Okay? And that looks a little anticlimactic, like your body sometimes in martial arts wants to do more than is actually required of it. That one, keep it minimized. Don't make a big, grandiose thing. Split, cover, and hit. That's where you want to be. Okay? So let's bow the class out as far as KidPersist. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. And I want to, let me just say this super quick for anybody that might be watching. If you're interested in formalizing your distance training with me and actually earning rank, please visit Stoops, OMALC.com for more information. All right, Chinese, Filipino, Thai, Indonesian, French and Dog Brothers, Japanese. All right, thanks everybody. I'm going to end this recording here.